live.
Woohoo. I'll sit here with Dr. Geller.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live now, so.
Okay, so we're good to go?
Well, it says we're live.
Yeah.
Okay. I call this meeting to order at 8:13 p.m. Are there any amendments, additions, anything to strike from the agenda?
I'll probably, go ahead, make it. My officer member report.
Is it louder? Does it go louder?
I can-
Can we strike my officer report and my allocations? Okay.
Naomi.
So that's Lily. Who else? Lily, Joanna. Okay. Isabel. Whoa.
Anyone else?
Oh, me.
Oh, sorry, Kim, do we have like the election board stuff on the agenda for tonight?
So it's on special presentation. I was gonna add an amendment.
Oh, I see it.
Election board, like election codes revision, and make that an action item.
Okay, do we want to add maybe like, maybe just as like a, backup? I just know that Dr. Geller, obviously worked on like this with, Kiana, and if we do end up feeling in some way comfortable approving it, we can go ahead and do that tonight. Or even approving a portion of it or the calendar. So, I think that might be good to get that out of the way, because once we approve the calendar or the code, Kiana can really start like actually working and prepping for actual election season. So maybe we can do like a revisions action item and then like actual approval action item. Does that sound ideal to you, Kim?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Does someone want to make a motion?
Motion.
Yeah.
So motion to revise the agenda into election code revision as an action item. Right? That I would be motioning that.
Yeah, you would be adding 2 action items, yeah.
Okay. I motion to add election code revision as an action item. As well as, what was the second one?
Election code / calendar approval as an action.
Yeah, election code and calendar approval. I motioned that. I think Joanna second.
Yep, sweet. Okay, all in favor. Here we go with the counting. Hi, Mahika. Hi, Tara. How are you all feeling? What's your vote? What's the T? Okay, 1. Tara, there we go. 2, 3. Lily, are you voting? 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, by a motion of 7 to 0, the motion passes and the items are added to the agenda. Okay, so cool. No approval of the minutes. Let's go on to contingency programming. Nadia?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
So for contingency programming this week, we received 3 applications, and we recommend allocating a total of $735 towards that.
Okay. Anybody want to make, and was that, sorry, to USAC entities or non-USAC entities, or both?
That is to USAC entities.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
Can you repeat the
735.
I motion to approve $735 funding to USAC SC for contingency.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Joanna? Oh, 7. Okay, by motion the 7 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and contingency is approved for the week. Awesome. Okay, let's go into capital contingency.
Okay, so with capital contingency, we actually won't be doing any capital contingency until surplus is allocated, because capital contingency is funded by surplus. So, yeah.
So strike until then.
So strike until like December, probably.
Yay. Okay, that's great. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Nadia. Let's go on to Jonathan's not here. Bruin Advocacy Grant allocations. Oh, okay. Sorry, we need to strike that. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go to SWC Programming Fund allocation.
We have one proposed allocation, and it's actually to the lovely Office of the President for $750. So it's a USAC entity.
Cool. Do you want to say what that's for?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I didn't know that was necessary.
Oh no, it's not. It's not. I just feel like there might be some pettiness towards this allocation that I just wanted to make clear. Clear up any pettiness around it.
Pettiness.
Questions about why we need the money?
Hey, we said no.
Not from you, Mahika.
Oh, I was like,
We said no such thing.
it's just for the summer advertising for all of our offices during orientation.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I know, I'm serious. Thank you for that.
I did have to do some convincing that it was health and wellness related, but
we are buying what are we buying? Water bottles, some stuff like that, I think.
I made the argument that because it's advertising SWC, it was health and wellness related.
True.
And student government in general and engagement.
Gotta slap that logo on there. Okay. Thank you, Mahika, for the allocation. Motions. Oh wait, this is consent. Sorry, I keep is there any opposition? Okay, I'm surprised. No, I'm just joking. Thank you all. And the allocations are approved for this week. Moving on to, okay, Kalechi's not here, so striking that. I'm assuming there's no public comment on your end, Isabel? Okay, thank you. Okay, so then let's get Kiana in here. 1 second. Hey.
Hello.
Okay. So, hi. I'm trying to think about how we should structure this. Okay, I think you should just take it away, Kiana, because obviously you're the one who did the work, and then Dr. Geller can chime in too on a lot of the work you did. I know that you sent the documents to us, so if everybody wants to pull that up, that would be amazing. I see that you have both the calendar and you have the E-code up. So thank you for doing both of those. If you want to kind of just walk us through maybe we can do one by one, and I think maybe the calendar might be an easier one to do first.
All right.
So does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, let me
No, you're good.
put it on my laptop. All right. Okay. So, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but September 23rd is when, you know, I'm going to plan to have the materials available. Just like campaign packets and all the stuff that you need to, you know, be a candidate. And I was going to give them 10 business days. I mean, 10 days, 10 like regular days, not school days, to get everything done in regards to those packets. And then October 3rd, I wanted to have them due. So yeah, October 3rd. And then candidate orientation, I was thinking either October 7th. Yeah, probably October 7th. October 7th would be a good day to have that due, like the orientation. And then I was going to present the ballot to you guys that Tuesday, so October 8th. And I was kind of unsure whether I wanted them to have a whole week of online. This is a very rough draft of the calendar. It's going to be like cleaned up. But for now, I was having online campaigning starting either that Thursday or Friday, so the 10th or 11th of August. Of October. But I'm kind of unsure whether I want that or not. But that for now, it's Thursday the 10th. And on-campus campaigning was going to start Monday the 14th. And then that gives them 2 weeks to get, you know, all of that done, like campus campaigning for about 2 weeks. And then voting begins the 28th of August. And then results will be announced the 31st. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we can just like ask questions, make recommendations. One thing I wanted to know is, so from my understanding, and Dr. Geller, please feel free to chime in too, campus campaigning was it? Okay, so I know that before last year, it was abnormal for campus campaigning, like leafletting, to be 2 weeks. Is that not correct? Well, and now it would be 3 weeks, right? With 2 weeks in advance and then actually during voting. I'm just generally asking, how do we feel about that?
So from
from
a policy perspective, there's no requirement, so it can be whatever you all decide with your election board. There's no minimum requirement, there's no maximum requirement. So it's all up to you, and it's varied from year to year.
Okay. Kiana, do you have a particular, do you feel one way or another about that? Is there a reason you feel like it should be maybe like to that extensiveness? Or do you feel flexible on that? What are you thinking?
I mean, I just feel like maybe because it's all really rushed for the candidates, giving them like 3 weeks to get everything done, or like ordering shirts takes a while. I'm assuming having all your materials done for like a signboard takes a while. I don't know. I'm flexible on it, but I just want to give them like time.
Yeah.
To do things, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But if y'all have something, you know, different, ready to hear it.
What do we? Oh yeah, okay. We can do the number thing. Isabel.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Isabel. Yeah.
I just had a question. Am I counting wrong? Because there's only 9 days between October 23rd, or sorry, what is that? September 23rd and October 3rd. It's counting weekends. Oh, counting weekends? Right. Okay. 10 calendar days. Never mind then. And then also, I know it was done this way last year, but I think it would be better to have the orientation before materials are due so that people can like ask questions and like just get things figured out before they have to turn in those candidate packets. And so for that, you can't draw positions for signboards or anything else until they're turned in. So if you have it after they're turned in, you can have one event that meets various needs.
I see.
If you want to have a potential candidate orientation before they're due, you can, but then there has to be a second event after where positions are drawn.
Okay.
Then, Kiana, are you planning on having like office hours before materials are due so that people can like come in and get help? Okay, cool. And then
I want to make my email really like public, just so like people can email me if they have any questions about stuff like that.
Okay. And then, and this is something that I'll talk about when we get to election code as well, but there is no like meet the candidates or endorsements or debate on the calendar.
I was unsure if I wanted to have those, just because it's so rushed. But like I said, this is a very rough draft of the calendar. I mean, there's a lot of things not on this calendar, like dates and times, like lease letting and stuff like that. But I don't know. I want to hear what you all have to say about that, because I don't really think there should be a debate or an endorsement hearing, but I feel like maybe there should be a meet the candidate. That's my personal thing. I would like to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Anybody else want to say stuff?
Oh yeah, I wanted to comment. I was thinking the same thing. Like I kind of agree with Kiana. When you guys say that there's like not enough time, and like maybe a debate and endorsement hearing, maybe not, but maybe we can like restructure what the meet the candidates like looks like. Maybe we can incorporate like elements of like the endorsements. Maybe not necessarily like debates, but like I remember for us, the endorsement questions were like very similar to the debate questions. The only difference was that like we were like fighting against each other. Yeah. So like, I feel like if we were to like incorporate elements of that into like meet the candidates, what do y'all think?
Yeah, Tara, I know you want to say something. I like debates, and I'll explain why, but I want to hear what you all have to say too.
I definitely think that endorsements is like a good idea, but then I also really like Naomi's idea of like sort of combining it with meet the candidates, because that's kind of what the point is, like to get to know, so you can use that forum. And the reason I just think endorsements are important is because I think like having campus organizations, it encourages them to put like stake into student government elections, and also it encourages students to listen, because like people who are actually their friends or like orgs that they love and trust are like actually weighing in on USAC as if it's like an important, like that's when they like it. I feel like it's just like that's a good event. I like that event, and I want that there. That's my input.
I think like from my perspective, like obviously if there's a way for us to make it more, like getting engagement. And I think that it's hard for us to maybe see that because last debates were so like not engaging, I think. But in prior years when they were posting up the Hill and stuff, there was engagement. Lily, yeah?
Oh, I was gonna agree with it being on the Hill. Like I went out to the Hill ones my freshman and sophomore years. So I think if we could host them on the Hill, and also because there are only 3 spots open, it'll be a much faster process. So maybe we could combine like endorsements and debates, since like the position is Gen Rep 2 and 3, and then FSC. So I think it'll go a lot quicker.
That's true. I like that. How does everybody else feel about that? Like making it kind of one big event where we can really push publicity.
Yeah, and then that's also like a go big or go home too. Like we could really pull people out to that.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, maybe we could have like orgs come to the debate and then they fill out endorsement slips after the debate is over, and then they can like submit their questions as debate questions rather than like endorsement questions. So like they watch the debate and then they decide who they want to endorse after the debate's over.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think that a lot of this requires planning that in the past hasn't really happened. I think like other ideas are like we could have food there, like stuff like that. They could just like really draw out people and make it like a really enjoyable, engaging experience. So Kiana, those are things for you to think about. But what do you think about maybe combining endorsements and debates, which is what seems like what like some people, Lily, and some other people are suggesting?
I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah.
I just need to like look at the timeline a little bit and try to see how I can squeeze it in. But yeah, I'm open to it.
Sweet. Okay, do we want to go ahead then? I mean, there's no need to like wait on some of these things. So do we want to go ahead and like propose a time where we would have that maybe? If anybody wants to suggest like a time, either like that week of the 14th or even the 21st.
I know that the Hill is not booking any spaces for weeks 1 and 2 because I tried to book the Disability Awareness Week events on the Hill and they're not letting us use those spaces. So you'd either have to like really convince Life or do it after week 2 if we wanted to be on the Hill.
Hey, yeah, Naomi, yeah.
Like that Wednesday, even on the 16th, like the day after our council meeting, and then I think that's week 3.
Yeah.
Is it 1? Yeah, week 3, and that way it gives people to like time to online campaign a little bit. They have 2 days of like campus campaigning, and then you know from there.
We should hit up Life like ASAP to book that event.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're not even reviewing proposals until week 2. But if you just like, if we all hit them up right now, they said they'd be down to book events, but they just can't do it for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if we ask them to book it for week 3, I think they'll be able to do it. We just need to like tell them ASAP.
Yeah. I can email Brian McDonald if you want me to, or Lily, if you have the connections to do it too.
Yeah, I can hit up my guy.
Okay, cool. So Kiana, I think Lily sounds like she'll help you out with booking of space for that.
I'll send it right now.
Sweet. Is there a date and time that we want for that?
I think Wednesday the 16th, we said.
Okay, and then what time are we thinking?
I feel like 6 to 8 is always a good time frame.
How do we?
Said the 23rd.
Do we feel like the 23rd might be like closer to actual voting?
I feel like, I feel like the 23rd, it's better when it's like, it's closer to actual voting.
Yeah.
I don't know, it would be fresh in people's minds.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Okay, so the 23rd, maybe 6 to 8? Does that sound ideal to people?
Wait, what is that week 4?
I think so, yeah.
I feel like my only, because I like that idea too, with it being fresh in people's minds, my only concern would be would the orgs have enough time to like endorse people and like release those posts? Because I remember like Robert, I'll use Robert for example. Robert was getting like endorsements like throughout the week. Like one day, and then like Friday he would get like 2 more.
I feel like orgs could also have the opportunity to release endorsements throughout voting week. I think that might actually be more effective for them.
So this was a controversy last year, and maybe Dr. Geller can provide some insights to it. So the problem was that we didn't do like slips last year. We kind of just abolished that. Or actually we did do slips, but it was in a really informal way where it was done, where it was basically they would submit it, but they could publish Kiana, and you can touch on this too. They would like independently still kind of do their own thing. And I like that because I think organizations should have like the ability and right to like publicize when they are endorsing someone. And I also I personally don't think it should be regulated like that much. But like, obviously, like I'm biased and we all have our biases in that. So like, what do we think objectively about like how regulated endorsements should be? Kiana, I know that you last year like had some concerns about just the sheer like stress of having to go through all of that.
Yeah, I personally hate endorsements. I really think it's, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know. It's just a lot of work, and in my opinion, I don't feel like it sways, but I could be wrong.
So the one thing about formally submitting it is that the Daily Bruin publishes it. So I don't know if you all remember, like obviously that last year where it would be submitted, and then if they formally submitted it, it would be published in the Daily Bruin. I think that is an aspect that we should keep. So yeah. Okay, Tara and then Lily.
I just wanted to say that it was great that mine were in the Daily Bruin. Like I think they are like, I kind of agree with, or like I understand the conclusion that Naomi was voicing. I just like, I think they are, I don't know how important they are. Honestly, they just like made it seem like they were important. So I guess it is happening, but I liked the endorsement process. That was fine.
I got so much clout from the endorsements. It really built my confidence. But actually, that's not why I commented. I need Kiana's email. Can someone put it in the group me?
Kiana, do you have it?
Is it eBoard 19?
Oh, it's the eBoard 19 one. It's not the election board.
Yeah, don't send it to that one.
Don't send it to that one.
I put it out.
It's not part of the G Suite.
Did you get it?
Got it, thanks.
Like, he doesn't know us anything anymore. He did graduate.
Maybe.
Did we have 2 weeks to campus
This is
flyer?
crazy.
Yeah, so I think this is adding another additional week from last year, from what I remember. Isabel?
It's actually.
Isn't this actually 3 weeks? Because it starts like,
Yeah, it is.
and didn't this past year only have like 1 week of online campaigning? Because I remember, or campus campaigning? Because I remember we didn't do it until like voting week. So I was just, I don't know if Kiana, you could say why you chose to give like extra weeks. Like, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but maybe like, because I'm just
Should I
thinking
cut
from
it
like,
down? Is that what you guys are saying?
I
I mean,
think-
I don't really see the issue in having more time to advertise yourself, but if
I would agree with you, but I think that like 3 weeks of flyering is like
strange.
like that would kill me. Like I couldn't, like I wouldn't do it.
My concern is that 3 weeks of not going to class will have a significant negative impact on the academics.
Yeah.
And I have, the biggest concern I've had with elections in years past is the amount of time that the candidates and their campaign teams focus on campaigning and not on going to class. Lose 3 weeks of class, you're not going to be able to catch up. And if your academics don't stay strong, you're not going to be any use to council. So that's the reason I would suggest considering reducing it, not about the impact it has and the ability to meet people, but just that pressure candidates feel to skip their classes and be out on Bruin Walk for the entire period of time where it's permissible. Yeah, I think dropping it down to like either the week of voting for on-campus flying is best, and then like in the days leading up to the debate on the 23rd, like there's nothing stopping election board from flyering on Bruin Walk to like hype up the debate.
What about like if they start flying like the day after the debate.
Yeah, or they could start flying the 24th.
I mean, it'd be a Thursday.
That would
so
be
it's
great
kinda weird,
because
but
that
like,
would get, yeah.
I feel like it makes sense.
The Wednesday or Thursday before. You could even do it the Wednesday of, and they could advertise going to the debates that night.
Yeah, that works too.
I like that a lot. I think that cuts it down a little bit from last year, so it's only a week and a half. That makes it less stressful on campaigns. So we're gonna say the 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. as the basically endorsements and debates. Start that day flyering, and then go until and then this was a controversy too last year, was results being like Friday, Thursday, and everything. And I think Dr. Geller, you had talked about it conflicting, Fridays not being good for certain
What
events.
What Kiana's proposed here is that voting open Monday morning, the 28th at 9 a.m., close sometime between 9 and 5 on the 30th, and she can say what time specifically she was thinking, and then the results would be announced the following morning. That gives time for the election board to do whatever it takes to tabulate the results and resolve any issues after the voting closes, which would be 5 o'clock or earlier on the 30th, and everything would be resolved for her announcement, which she has on this calendar at 9 a.m. on the 31st. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Trick or treat.
Okay, so what do we think about 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for flyering? Last year, our previous election board chair had proposed something I thought was maybe a decent idea, which was like lunch breaks. But like, I don't know, lunch is also like a popular time for people to walk on Broom Walk. Like, do we like 9 to 5? Do we not like 9 to 5? What do we think about that? And y'all can feel free to like chime in and not just like press one.
We think 9 to 5 is like pretty good. Like if someone wants to take a lunch break, like they can, but we don't need to legislate lunch breaks.
Yeah. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
not everyone eats lunch at 12.
Yeah.
Does anyone even eat lunch on campus? I don't.
No.
I don't eat.
Anyone even eat food?
So, okay, 9 to 5. Okay.
I feel like we should also take into consideration that by 5 it's starting to get pretty dark. So I don't know, it's
Especially
fall
during-
too. Like the time's gonna be changing, and I'm personally not comfortable with like being out in the dark, like in a public space like that. So I don't. Maybe like 9 to 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I know I.
How about 8 to 4? Is that okay?
Ooh, I don't like, I feel like if we're gonna cut the like evening, we shouldn't add on to the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
9 to 4.
I mean, if you'll disagree, this is a vote, so you all can disagree. What do we think?
I mean, it would still be up to them if they want to flyer into the store.
9 to 4.
I mean, but people go to like extensive measures, like
Yeah.
you give them the option, like they're going to, even if it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I just know that in the fall time, there's a lot of weird people. You know, and it's a public campus too. So.
I'm pretty sure sunset is not at 5 though. Like I think they'll be fine. Like I think it's later in the day that if we end at 5, I don't think it's dark.
Oh, let's start Googling.
It's later.
When is sunset in October?
But I mean, I don't particularly the hour more or less. If we want to be on the safe side, doesn't matter to me. But I don't think it's a huge concern.
One like maybe thing to think about too is I don't know if this was the way it worked for your all's campaigns, but like definitely the more spread out the times there were, the less like conglomeration the people there were available to flyer. So like like the shorter amount of hours we have, like the more campaign members can flyer each hour, or you spread it out and you only have like 1 or 2 campaign members flyering each hour. I don't, like Isabel said, I don't know if that's necessarily for us to like legislate or whatever. So we're fine with a generic 9 to 5. Okay. And then obviously not counting weekends. That one weekend that's there. It would be that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it would be week of voting. Okay. I do think, as far as boards going up, that's technically a form of campus campaigning, but like maybe a suggestion I have, just so like we do get the words out about elections like quickly, is that we put those up earlier, like maybe that Monday before the endorsements and debates, so that people like know elections are happening earlier. And also, I feel like they shouldn't have to do that at the exact same day that they start flyering. I feel like those things might be less stressful if they're like separate from that. What do we think about that?
I think that's a good idea, letting them put it up like on Monday at like 12 a.m. or however it was last year.
Yeah.
Also, I have a quick question. What happens after voting is done at 5 p.m. on the 30th? Like, what does election board do in terms of like counting votes and stuff like that?
We don't do that. My UCLA does that.
Okay.
So they would, after voting ends, are you talking about that?
Yeah,
so
like I just want to like really,
stuff.
I just really want to understand why it's like the next day instead of like how it was like ending at 2 and then announcing later in the same day.
Like what issues?
To tabulate the results takes like between 3 to like 4 hours.
Okay.
So I just don't want like people standing there in the dark. Just depending on when voting ends.
Okay.
Or when we decide for voting to end. So I feel like the next day, like everyone's there for like, they're not tired, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. It also would allow time for the election board to resolve any challenges they may have received, because that really should be done before the results are announced. Okay.
Wait. All right, there's only 3 days of voting now?
Yeah.
It's only 3 people.
Am I looking at it incorrectly?
No, you're not. The election code has always said that for regular elections, it's a minimum of 72 hours, and for special elections, it's a minimum of 48 hours. Kiana has actually extended it beyond the 48 hours to go till 5 on that third day. So what she's proposing is more than the election code of years past has called for.
So it is 3 days though, just to clarify.
Yes.
Okay. My only concern about that obviously is just like voter turnout. And I don't know how much that makes a difference of like having it open more.
I mean,
Dr. Geller, from what you all seen.
Don't most people vote within like the first 2 days anyway? You'd have to check in with Chris and see if there's any data on when and how the voting trends. But my sense would be that voter turnout is not impacted so much by how long voting is. It's impacted by the effectiveness of the outreach and marketing beforehand, and by the campaigning of the candidates themselves. So if more effort is put into making sure that everyone on campus knows there is an election and when voting will be, 3 days should allow plenty of time, especially because it stays open overnight. It's not like voting is only 9 to 5. It opens Monday at 9, closes Wednesday at 5, and they can vote anytime, day or night, that's convenient for them, from any digital device that they use to log on to.
Okay. Do we generally all feel like we are fine with that?
Yeah. I think it's fine.
Okay. I just like really want to have a commitment that we like publicize it, obviously. I would really hate to see it if we get below 16% voter turnout. That would be shitty, for lack of a better word. Okay. Anything else? Okay, Joanna suggested 9 to 4. What do we think?
9 to 4 for flyering?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that
Yeah,
extra
I mean-
hour makes a huge difference.
Yeah, sunset is at 6, but like, what's like 1 hour?
It's less stress on the candidates
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think the less stress on the candidates is probably like the most important part, because I just think we should try to make election season, I know it's inevitable, but like as less toxic as possible. Like I know me and Mahika were like there, like selling our souls every day, so it was a lot.
Cool. Okay. So, Kiana, did you type down all of these kind of general I don't know what the plural consensuses are. But did you type those down? And Lily,
Yeah, I've been writing it down.
I just sent the email. You should all be getting it any second.
Okay. Thank you, Lily.
You're welcome.
So, okay, with the 6 to 8 on Wednesday, the 26th, and then starting flyering Wednesday, 9 a.m., signboards up at 12 a.m. on that Monday. What is that, the 24th, 23rd? Let me look. 21st, sorry. And then 23rd for the endorsements and the debates, 6 to 8 p.m. Flyering starts 9 a.m. the 23rd. And then it ends 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 30th. Okay. Dr. Keller, is there a reason why voting like closes at night from my understanding on my UCLA, right? You can't
doesn't.
vote during the night?
That's not
It
my
doesn't?
understanding. No, it stays open.
Okay.
Once it opens, it is open continuously. The election code just calls that on the first day, it starts not earlier than 7 a.m. and on the last day, it ends not later than 5 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Whew. And then materials being due, that is signatures too, right? The 75 signatures.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 100, but yeah.
It's 100.
You haven't
Whatever
gone-
we decide on signature.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Whatever you
Are there
decide.
any final questions or proposals before we do a vote on the calendar? This is exciting.
Robert.
I just have one question or concern is, so let's say we have some newbies, like some transfers or some incoming freshmen that decide to run, but it's 0 week and they have no idea what's going on. Is this like enough time for them to like get everything done that they need to get done? Because I feel like it'll be a lot for them, like, because they're transitioning, but also they're running for an election, and it's like, I just don't know what y'all think about that time.
Isabel, as our transfer student representative.
So I have already been talking to transfers who are interested in student government, and they're very excited. And what I've told them is like, you know, we are having a fall special election, but like with any incoming student, not only are you not really going to understand how the campus works, you're not even going to have like a very good handle on what the UCLA specific issues are. So like, if they're willing to do the research during the summer, I think it's fine if they want to run, and like this gives them like 2 weeks to get settled and then elections start. So I mean like I think it's like diminishing return, like the longer we like put it off, like they can only learn so much without like spending like an entire year here, like if that makes sense. So, and I mean, I've told them that like my office is open. If they like have questions about elections, they can come to me. So I think like just making sure that all of our offices are open to helping new students be candidates in this election, it'll be fine. Because it's not like we're starting like week 0 or week 1. Or is this week 1? What is week 1? This is
Well,
week
the
1. Okay.
the packet would be due week 1, but I think that's feasible, right? If there was a transferred student, they could feasibly get 75 signatures.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100 now, but like I ended up
It's
getting
proposed as 100.
I ended up getting 150 signatures because I thought it was 200, and I did that in 3 days, and I spent like maybe 2 hours each day like asking for signatures. So I think it's totally doable.
Okay. Joanna, does that kind of resolve your question that you were asking?
Yeah, I was just concerned about that because I know like it can be a lot, especially for just, I don't know, I think transitioning in general to our campus can be really difficult for students, and like hearing about all the trauma that elections alone has caused.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just worry for them. So I'm wondering if there's any other things that we could do as council besides as like Isabel mentioned, like being open to like sitting down and having coffee with them, you know, just to talk about our experiences, but also just letting them know like what, like helping them transition as council, I think would be like a good approach. And whether that's just also making sure that council goes to like the candidate orientation, or like, I don't know, we do different things to kind of tell people what the elections are about and like what your positions are about and stuff like that. I think that would be helpful to them, so that, because like we just got elected and we are supposed to have some experience, and I feel like we can really like hopefully use that to help guide them.
Definitely. Lily.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe election board could have a table at Enormous Activities Fair too.
Definitely.
And talk about the special election.
Would love that.
And since we'll all be there, they can kind of like bounce around to all the offices and like say what's up. I don't know.
I like that.
I just had one last thing. Also, I can't speak for freshmen, but a lot of the transfers that have reached out to me are in student government at their CCs anyway, so they kind of know what they're getting into, just like on a smaller scale. And then also Dr. Geller mentioned that we could do like an announcement at Brew and Bash about elections, but that would have to go through Tara and Clutchy.
Tara, we gave you $60,000.
You can find alternative routes other than announcing in the middle of the concert, maybe. I'm open to discussion. I also can't speak without Kalechi's engagement. But I also think there's like other opportunities than just like interrupting the concert for an announcement. Like we could have like, there's like monitors that we could put up, like sponsors put monitors up, and we can also like, or they put graphics up on the monitors, so we could do something like where it rotates to like something about council, or like come up with some other alternative solutions. I can't just speak for Kalechi, but also like we're very willing to find ways to like prop this up. I don't know about like in the middle of the concert being like, hey, like before a headliner comes on, like make sure you apply. Like, do you think maybe, I mean, I know that in the past there's been like someone who either mentions or has a sign up that like this was funded or paid for by USAC or whatever. Do you think at the beginning, if there was some sort of like brief introduction, like, hey, like this is USAC, and then like, by the way, we have an election, like at the very beginning of the concert, when you all kind of do that introduction, is that more feasible, or is there another like mechanism that you would think would be more like better to go about doing that? Let me brainstorm, because I definitely think there's like creative ways of doing it. Like I don't even know necessarily that is the most effective time to make an announcement, just by the state that people tend to show up to Brew Bash in anyways. Like did they pay attention to the announcement we made? So I think like if this is a priority, like we can also just like brainstorm more creative ways of doing it. And I mean, there's like so many other like media opportunities that we could do. Like I'll think about it. Like we could also like potentially, I'd have to talk to Clutchy, but like the Brew and Bash website does have like the EAF Fair on it. And like under the EAF Fair, we could mention how it's paid for by USAC, and there's this opportunity. Like we could do something like that. Like there's other things that I think we can come up with that
like might be comparable. So I'll talk with her and we can kind of come up with more ideas than just that.
Okay.
I'm good.
How's everybody feel about that? I think this is something we can follow up on too, right? Is like if last minute we really want an announcement or something, we can talk about it then too. I don't think.
Not opposed to it. I just think like there's more, like just consider all the ideas that we could maybe do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then figure out like, because this may not even be like the best possible idea.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody cool with that? Like kind of brainstorming and then coming back to this? Okay. Okay, Kiana, do you mind? I messaged the like text or the messaging part chat thing of this. Do you mind like sending us like an updated calendar so we can formally vote on it, and then it can be publicized to like Daily Bruin, and then we can have it to reference? Because as you know from last year, there were some conflicts with deadlines being misinterpreted. So I want to make sure that we have this widely publicized to everybody. Oh, you're muted.
Fell asleep.
That's embarrassing. Okay, do you want me to add the times as well?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
All right, I might need a second.
And then if you could add like the voting ends on the 30th at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
The 23rd, obviously endorsements and debates from 6 to 8 p.m. Honestly, I would maybe do. Okay, I want to ask council this is. Are we combining the event into one event, or are we doing endorsements and debates as two separate events in one? Because if we're doing two separate events, I feel like an hour each for the events is not enough time. I feel like if we're combining them into like one grand event, then that might be like.
I think we're combining them into one event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so let's just like. Endorsement debate event.
And just to clarify, this is only for the special election, and we'll talk about the
yes, this is not the calendar for the regular election.
Okay, just double check because I feel like that's
no, you're good.
For the regular.
You're cool. You're cool. Yeah, the convention, the event. I don't know. Okay, so whatever you want to call it, Kiana, endorsement debate event from 6 to 8 p.m. on the 23rd, and flyering or leafletting begins the 23rd at 9 a.m., ends the 30th at 5 p.m., and then signboards are up 12 a.m. on the 21st.
Robert, you gotta slow down, man.
Sorry.
Say that again slow.
Okay. Signboards 12 a.m. the 21st.
Okay, 12 a.m. Got it.
Yeah, so midnight. Then 23rd, 6 to 8 p.m. is the endorsements debate event. Also the 23rd at 9 a.m. is campus leafletting begins.
Got it. 9 to 4 we said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it ends on the 30th, at 4 p.m. Sorry, not 5 p.m. So leafletting ends the 30th at 4 p.m. Okay.
So leafletting ends at 4 p.m. Do you want voting to end at 5 p.m. or at 4 p.m. too?
I feel like leaving it up an hour was what was, I'm pretty sure that's what happened last year too, was we would leave it up an hour afterwards. So I think that's fine if people are like last minute making a decision or something.
Okay.
Does council feel okay with that? Okay, cool. And then, okay, sorry, on the 10th, on the 10th it says online campaigning begins at 9 a.m. and then, I'm just looking, sorry.
I moved that to the 14th. Online campaigning. Just what time do you want it to start?
Oh, did we talk about moving it to then? Was I like zoned out? That's fine if we're making it like that closer, that like week closer.
Wait, does online campaigning and campus campaigning start at the same time?
No.
Oh, because campus campaigning starting Wednesday?
Of the 23rd, we moved it like a week and a half later. So originally she has campus campaigning starting the 14th, and now it's starting the 23rd. Well, leave money to start the 23rd, and then signboards are the 21st.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm almost fine with leaving online campaigning that early, but like, how do other people feel too? Like, so right now it's the 10th. It's like on the calendar as the 10th, but Kiana's proposing that we maybe move it to the 14th. What do we? I'm like pretty neutral either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be better on the 14th, just because like things start to get a little bit like stale.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So like, even though that's less campaigning time, I think it's fine.
Let's get your graphics together. And
yeah, like it just gives people more time to like feel comfortable with like what they're putting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it gives Evo more time to like approve everything as well.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Okay. So let's say online campaigning, if everybody's comfortable, that begins the 14th at 9 a.m. And then, sorry, if that's the case though, if we're not even starting online campaigning until then, is there a way to have materials due like that Thursday or Friday instead? Or sorry, that Friday at 9 a.m.?
The 11th?
Because if we're talking about the concern with that being like week one and like people being really busy and like transfer students, all that sort of stuff, like I don't see why giving them that extra day, especially if you would have like a week to look at it. Kiana, would be like are you cool with that?
Moving materials from the 3rd to the 4th or to the 10th?
Yeah, to the 4th.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool. In the past too, there's been a withdrawal deadline that's been put down.
I see.
So that would have to happen before the 8th. I think that maybe that should be on the 7th.
Yeah, because if they don't go to that orientation, yeah.
So maybe the 7th, like on the evening, whenever you're comfortable with, like the 7th at like, I don't know, 12 p.m. or something like that. Ooh. Okay, sorry, your candidate, I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions, y'all. The candidate orientation right now says it's 9 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Can we
the
change
times
that?
are all messed up.
Yeah, can we change that obviously to like the evening, like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.?
Yeah.
Just to make sure nobody conflicts with that. Does council have any preference on what time that's at, candidate orientation?
Yeah. Is 6 good?
What do people think? 6 p.m.?
That's when I was last time.
Okay, 6 p.m. it is. Okay, I'm not sorry. 6 p.m. for candidate orientation, and then maybe like 9 p.m. withdrawal deadline. And then that way, when you present the ballot to USAC the next day for approval, if they withdrew, we could just strike it.
All right.
Okay, cool. That's everything I have. So anybody have anything else?
Oh, online campaigning starts when? I'm sorry, I didn't get that one.
The
9 a.m.?
14th, 9 a.m., yeah. That was just the calendar.
You know, Robert, I think you should withdraw as president and help Kiana run this election.
I'll leave. Kiana, I can leave if you want me to.
I know, I want you to leave. All right, leafletting 4 p.m. at ends, and then let me just go through these with you again.
Yeah.
The materials, the 23rd, become available.
Yes.
Okay, and then the 4th of October, materials are due at 12 p.m. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Candidate orientation is the 7th of October at 6 p.m. Final withdrawal deadline is that day at 9 p.m., the 7th. The next day, the 8th, present to USAC.
At 7 p.m. for that too. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Online campaigning begins the 14th at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
The signboards go up the 21st at 12 a.m. Campus campaigning begins the 23rd from 9 to 4 p.m. Any events that we have, whatever on that day from 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Voting begins the 28th. Did we set a time for that?
No.
Or is that just like 11:59 or like what?
Or I think that Dr. Geller said there were restrictions that voting has to happen after 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Okay.
So 7, 8 a.m. So
Yeah.
hi, Dr. Geller.
First day voting cannot open before 7 a.m. Last day voting cannot close after 5 p.m. So you can set as early as 7 a.m. on the opening day, as late as 5 on the closing day.
Let's just do 7 a.m. then.
Yeah, I would do 7 a.m., especially since we already have 3 days of voting. Isabel, I don't know what that is, but it looks good.
It's a caramel rice cake.
That does not sound good, though.
You said that does not sound good?
Caramel? No, thank you, bro.
Did you say no to caramel?
I said no to caramel.
Caramel.
Okay. Are you good, Kiana?
Okay, and then voting ends 5 p.m. that 30th. Leafletting ends at 4 p.m. that same day.
Yep.
Results are announced on the 31st. I don't know when.
I would probably do later in the afternoon so people can come and congregate.
Like 3 p.m. is good?
No,
4 or 5, whenever.
no,
Yeah. Ooh, that's going to be right in the middle of class. People are going to be walking by. It's going to be dramatic.
4?
What day is that?
The 31st.
Yeah, 4 or 5,
Okay.
whenever.
Alright. Okay, so that's I'm
Okay.
sending this to you guys right now.
I need to
Do you want me to screenshot it, or is that okay?
Yeah, you can do what you did before.
I don't think anyone's watching. That's true.
I don't think it's a scene loud enough to get caught on anything, but it's a reminder.
I mean, it's in the minutes. Shoes came off already? Shoes came off already?
Yeah. It's been a long time.
When is it? At one meeting, we're here till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Shoes came off.
Shoes didn't come off that. Then we planned the carpet.
Alright, I sent it to the email. Let me know when y'all received it.
Got it.
Wait, isn't the final still deadline?
This is kind of nitpicky, but when it does come time to make the candidate packets, can you type it out on a sheet of paper?
Oh, like the entire calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a very rough draft. Yeah, it'll look prettier.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea too. Do we want to go ahead and for the sake of the candidate packet, that would be good too. To have it on a formal calendar.
Yeah.
Do we want to go ahead and approve this though, as far as the dates and times?
Do we just motion?
Yeah, it would be a motion second.
I motion to approve the election board calendar as stands.
I second.
Okay, awesome. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, by a motion of 8 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the election board calendar is approved. Yay! Okay, let's not retroactively change that. Let's go on to the election code.
Oh, okay.
Yay. Kiana, you and Dr. Geller worked on this, so go ahead, take it away.
Okay.
Also, I'm being so BRB.
Alrighty. So the first page is pretty much the same. The second page is pretty much the same. I don't really know how to go through this. Does anyone? I don't know. There's just a lot of deleting.
Just take us through like every change you made.
Okay. So on page 4, where it says the duties of the election board chair, we added an article that says, act as a representative of the election board before the judicial board or delegate to the investigations chair. So that wasn't there before, and we added that. I deleted there being a website for the election board because I feel like our social medias do the job. So that's what I did. Oh, sorry, my mom's home. Give me a sec. I gotta open the door. I'm on a meeting. I'm gonna call you. All right. So I deleted having a website. So that's what I did. And then we're just going through. We deleted the need for, on point 8, duties of the election board external relations committee. There was, it says be responsible for communication and coordination with such bodies as the Daily Bruin, my UCLA, and originally it was Res Life in there, but we deleted that, and just kept it as you see it there. Okay. We also said if an official debate is scheduled, and that's under the same article as 2.8, just if there isn't like a debate happening, we just wanted to have that there just in case. If an official debate is scheduled. Going through. Be responsible for, this is the same article E, be responsible for informing participants at the candidate orientation meeting if there will be a debate, and if so, like the layout and stuff like that. And then on 2.9, duties of the election board endorsements committee, on letter A, if an official endorsement hearing is scheduled. So that just gives us a bit of leeway in case, things don't happen. Going down. We added to the duties of the election board finance committee, shall be responsible for the completion and submission of all election board requisitions, just because they have everything already. I feel like that would streamline the process a little more. And then we deleted on 2.11, duties of the election board executive committee, pick a secretary to the election board. I really don't think a secretary is necessary. I don't even know what a secretary would do. So, go down. So we deleted post, this is the same, 2.11 still. Post-election board office hours and investigation sanctioned to be accessible to the public. Maintain and clean the election board's office. Assist the election board chair with managing the finances of the election board. So we deleted that. Just like we cleaned this up a little bit. Okay, so for 2.12, I changed the signatures from 75 to 100 names. Yeah. Do we want to discuss that, or do we want to just keep going through the whole thing?
I think you can keep going. I mean, it's cool.
Okay. Okay, so this is what Isabel was talking about, the 10 members of the association. Or Dr. Geller kind of figured out that it was the 10% of the members of the association when it comes to 3.3 initiative. This is A. So we changed it to 10% of the members of the association.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.5, preservation of slate name, that first number. We deleted in spring quarter each year and added each. Could be a special election. Change semester to term. Deleted the 75, added 100. We deleted on 5.1 the Article 5 candidate, where it talks about a writing candidate. We completely deleted that section just because voting is done on my UCLA, and there really is no point for writing candidate done. Also deleted the Article 5.3 dates and times of elections. In the event that all candidates for an office are disqualified or withdrawn, new nominations shall be placed for a period of 5 school days immediately following election. That was deleted. And in the event that all candidates for an office are disqualified or withdraw, a special election for that office shall be held within 28 school days of the final petition, filing date for that office. So those were deleted. Okay. So, for ballot order on 5.2, we added randomized on my UCLA ballot. Yeah, so on that same item, 5.2 candidate orientation meeting, on the election walk signboard location, we deleted must participate in the official debate and meet the candidates, and they will need to register at the candidate orientation meeting except for those who send the election board ballot excuse. This is number 8. We said if debates, endorsements, hearing, or meet the candidate events are held, attendance by campus representatives is optional. So I made that optional. Yeah. And then just on voting procedures, voting shall be done
Can you state
via
where
my
that is again?
UCLA.
Can you state where that is again?
Yeah. It's on 5.2 at orientation meeting, and if you scroll all the way down to number 8, it says it there. It's on page 24.
Sorry, Kiana, right below 6.1, I have other suggestions, but just real quick, I think your numbering might be wrong. I think it says 1, 2, 4, 4, 5.
It says 3. 1, 2, 3.
So,
and A, B, C, D, and 4, 5.
Okay, the 4 that's in red there, is it? Oh, I think it doesn't look like it's struck out because it's the strikeout is like underlined where the 4 is too. So never mind. Okay, gotcha. You're good.
Okay, and then we changed voting shall be online via my UCLA instead of secret ballot. We deleted any attempt to vote more than once will be subject to administrative admonition. Yeah. Okay, so for 6.2 tabulation procedure, it said that it should be posted, like a copy of the results should be posted on the election board bulletin board. I don't even think that exists anymore. So we said posted digitally on the election board social media. So that's what was added. And then we deleted any write-in votes. Write-in votes shall be counted where the identity of the write-in candidate is reasonably determined on the ballot and be verified as meeting all requirements for eligibility for candidacy. So we deleted that. And then we added on 7.2 of special elections, the second number 2C, we just added or during summer term. And we deleted 7.3 runoff elections. There was a whole section about that, and that was deleted. Going down. Okay. So, okay, so this is 8.2, so if you scroll all the way down to number 6, it originally said that the candidates are allowed based on the USAC computer server, and we deleted that. And it also said each candidate or designated campaign representative will receive an equal amount of space. So we just deleted that whole thing. Yeah. And we changed false and misleading information on, if you just scroll down all the way to 7, down to C, it's just prohibited behavior. And that's just going to be part of the, it's going to be added onto as kind of the infractions guideline. So that's what that is. And we deleted that all members of a slate will be equally guilty of a campaign violation. We just said multiple, just in case it's like 1 or 2 or more than 1, but not the whole slate won't be penalized for the action of one person. And yeah. Okay, so let's go to 9.1.1 spending limit. I changed it to $400. It was originally $600. and I also changed, that each candidate may be reimbursed from 15% to 10%, of the election board budget for that election. Yeah. Also the spending limit for, a ballot prop was changed from 5,000 to $1,000. Also, Article 10, election events, 10.1 endorsements. The election board may sponsor endorsements hearing instead of will sponsor, just in case, you know, it doesn't happen for the special election or for a regular election. Also the same thing for debates, may sponsor, the election board may host, meet the candidate. Okay. I changed the 24-hour deadline to respond to a petition to 48 hours. This is Article 12, tallying of votes, 12.1 ballot tabulation. Okay. Yep. I think that's just about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? People.
Hello. I have a few thoughts. So for like changing the language for the debates and endorsement hearings to like protect against in case it doesn't happen, I understand that for like the accelerated timeline of the fall election, but do you still intend to host all three separate events for the spring election?
Yeah, this is mostly just for like special elections. I just wanted to have that language in there, just so we're not penalized for it.
Okay.
But I intend to have that in spring when we have a bunch of time, not in the fall.
Okay, and then for 6.2, I know you said you didn't want a website anymore, but I think it still mentioned that you had a website.
6.2 where?
Yeah, 6.2 and then part 2 and then part A. One shall be posted digitally on the election board website and social media.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I deleted on mine, but I didn't send you guys that one. But maybe I should send you this one.
Okay.
It's deleted on mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was just, this is like kind of more for Dr. Geller. Is there any way to have a writing candidate, or like the website just doesn't support it?
Doesn't support it.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
I had one question, but it was more so a question for you, Kiana, and why you guys are like more so leaning towards having like 48-hour response times for certain things.
So I was working really closely with our investigations director last quarter, and when it comes down to it, there were so many petitions coming in. There was like 5 in one day that just came in like all of a sudden, and just having 24 hours to meet with everyone, and she still had to go to classes, I had to go to classes. I just wanted to give, like, we're not saying that we're going to use that entire time, but just having that like a little bit of room is really helpful, because it gets to be a lot. Yeah.
I might have missed it, but I was looking to see if there's anything mentioned in the E-code about non-election board sponsored events, because I know not this past election, but the one before, the Mother Orgs hosted an Emo's Rock the Vote event, and like all the candidates were invited and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's anything in the E-code regulating anything or like if that has to be approved. I might have missed it, so yeah.
I don't think there's anything about I think it was taken out by Richard. I remember something being in there last year where there was, there had to be an election board, member present at one of those.
Yeah.
But I think it was taken out. I don't remember reading anything in here about that.
Which removed previously. So does that mean?
I could be wrong.
Can't throw anything, or they can throw stuff and it's just not regulated at all? It's not regulated currently. But it can still happen. Okay.
And candidates aren't penalized if they go.
Right.
Okay. As far as spending limits, I mean, obviously that's an important thing. Do we all like that it's down to 400? Do we think that's like low enough to be more affordable, but high enough to still engage people? It used to be 600. Like, what do we think about that number?
That's separate from the slate budget too?
I think the slate would be 400 still per individual candidate. So I think last year we equalized it to make it so that each candidate on a slate would be 400 too.
So you cannot have more nor less as the total that a slate member is allowed to spend than the total that an independent candidate is allowed to spend. What you can do is regulate what portion of that maximum amount could go towards being pooled with other slate members. And I believe there's something in there that says what portion of the 400 could be contributed towards the slate, as I recall. I don't remember what that number is, but I think there's something in there about that.
Right here it says each candidate running with the slate can vote no more than 1/3 of their funding limit to the slate.
So there you go. So it currently says 1/3 of that 400 could be contributed towards the slate, and it's done as a permission rather than a mandate, so that if one member of a slate were more able to contribute and others not, that they wouldn't all be required to.
Cool. Thank you, Dr. Geller. Do we like the number 400? Do we think it should be higher? Do we think it should be lower? Do we like it?
I mean, I think 400 is good, but like, I didn't really like spend any money during elections, so I can't really speak on like how far $400 goes.
What do y'all think for, especially for like people who ordered signboards and stuff?
Yeah. Kiana, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So looking through all the receipts and everything, if they want to like order t-shirts or something, that's usually around like $200 to $300. I mean, obviously depending on how many t-shirts they get, but on average, it was $200 to $300. And like a signboard was maybe like $100. So I feel like that 400 is fine. Maybe if you want to like make it 450, if like it's an issue.
I mean, Mahika, I know you and I, not collusion, but got a very good deal on our signboards. But I don't know typically if signboards are like more expensive than that or not. And I feel like nobody in this like group wants to be like the like person who's like, we should raise it. But like, part of me is like, maybe like your suggestion of raising it to like 450 or 500 might be, I think, like more incremental as like a test to see how that goes. Because we're still lowering it from 600, which is what it was last year. And then maybe seeing how that goes fall quarter.
and then like, let's say it is too much so, and let's say that the candidates that ran feel like we could lower it, then maybe we could lower it again for spring elections might be a suggestion. Lily, you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say we should try to keep it lower, but maybe something we could do is kind of collaborate on a resource guide to like purchasing, because you guys might have gotten a really good deal on signboards and that would be really helpful to people.
Yeah.
And I got a really slick deal for my girl Tess at Tees on Demand. So I can put that in there and like we can just, you know, like we don't want to set a precedent that they should be spending a lot of money.
Yeah. One thing to consider too is that like Kiana, obviously you despite it taking time, which I know is not necessarily your fault, reimbursed candidates, and you have a pretty extensive budget to do that again, to move around to be able to do that again this year. So I don't know, like what are we thinking about the number 400? Because I agree with Lily that I definitely don't want to raise it above 600, and I want to make that clear. Isabel, yeah?
Sorry, this is a little bit off topic, but you reminded me when you said reimbursements. By equally, do you mean an equal percentage or an equal dollar amount?
Are you asking me that?
I'm asking Kiana.
Oh, sorry.
So in the code it says like candidates will be reimbursed equally, but like if I spent $100 and Lalo spent $50 on his election, and we're both like what is equal at that point? Like a percentage of what we spent, or like a specific dollar amount that's like capped for everyone?
Yeah, so this was so unclear to everyone. Like even Chris didn't really even know what to tell me about this. But from what we concluded is that it was an equal percentage of the total amount of the budget.
The budget? Wait.
So
What?
when the way we discussed this, it appears that so if 10% of the budget for the specific election is the amount to be allocated, you calculate how many dollars that is. You divide it by all the candidates running in that election, and come up with a maximum dollar amount that they'll be reimbursed up to based on actual spending. So if based on the number of candidates and the amount in that pool, if the amount that they could each be reimbursed for were $200 and one candidate only spent 50, they'd only get 50. One who spent 250 would get the 200.
Okay.
So it may not all be spent, and if it's not, then it goes back into the overall election budget.
Okay, that makes sense. In light of that, how much, hello? What is the dollar amount that candidates will be, could be reimbursed for fall election?
Do you mean the budget?
Yes,
To be 10% of the budget.
But she's asking what the budget.
yes. Well, I don't know what
I
the
think it would
election.
depend how many people run.
Right.
It does. I mean, if we're thinking that not 39 people are going to run for this election and that there's only 3 contested positions, I feel like you could reimburse them fully with the budget that you have.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like being reimbursed is like a significant like factor in how much someone is going to be able to spend.
Yeah. Lily, you were going to say something?
Yeah, did we get reimbursed?
I got my check.
Wait, no.
It was a long process, guys. It was horrible. But I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna get a check.
Did you have your check delivered to like an address, or were you gonna pick it up? Because they don't tell you if you like were just gonna pick it up.
No, I didn't. I sent it to everyone through the address that I had on your form.
Oh no.
Wait, why? No.
It's at my apartment probably, but I'm subletting it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll get it when I get back.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about that, Lily. I hope you get your check. In the future, given that it is likely that I feel, or that we feel that reimbursements will probably be at least close to the full amount for fall quarter elections, I really want to figure out what this number is that we're trying to get at. I personally am a proponent of maybe like $500, lowering it $100, seeing how that goes. Lily, I know, like, reiterated that you think that it should be low and stay low. Like, what do other people think?
What if we did 450 like you proposed originally?
Kiana, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with 450, yeah.
Are other people okay with that?
Yeah. I also have another question for Kiana. Are you allowed to talk about like the average amount that like, or like maybe the median amount that people spent on their campaigns? Like, did people spend $600 last campaign, or like was that not?
Yes.
Oh,
Some people said, yeah.
okay.
Robert said yes.
There's a big difference between contested and uncontested candidates. So,
Yeah.
Some people didn't spend anything. Like, I didn't get any recs from like a lot of people.
At Joanna.
But- yeah,
Okay.
people did spend quite a bit.
Contested positions, people stay spending the money on those.
Okay, so it's basically like people will spend up to the amount that they are allowed to spend. Okay. Yeah, I think 450 is good then. Especially because it's like a fall election, like I think people will probably not spend.
Oh, people like free shirts at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
My shirts were cute. Y'all shirts were cute, some of them. I really liked them.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
They weren't approved.
And Naomi, your shirts were pretty.
From you. He almost said some of us.
I didn't say which some.
Exactly, so don't know it's Mahika.
Mahika shirts were nice.
Mine are cute as hell.
Your cute. Okay, all shirts were nice.
He just got shirts matter.
Lily, you really sound like you just took the L side and I'm triggered by it because I'm like, the some are all maybe true, might be true.
Oh my God, no.
True. Okay.
Like 450?
450. Okay. What about 75 signatures versus 100 signatures? I like 100 signatures. I think that engages more people. Yay.
100.
Okay.
No.
Moving on from that.
What?
Other suggestions. Isabel and Lalo both look like they were distracted.
Oh, no.
No, we're good.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah.
True, Joanna. True. Okay. So, Kiana, you're still working on an infractions and penalties guideline document per Dr. Geller's suggestion?
So there's an area of the code that references like prohibited behavior. I was just kind of add on to that and add like a sanctions, because like the only sanctions I can really give are like, you can't leaflet for this amount of time, or you're disqualified.
Or no online campaigning.
Yeah, or like, just like those three really.
Okay. The suggestion I have with that is that in your E-code, and I'm sure Dr. Geller might say this already, is that it already says infractions and penalties guideline. So if you do reference it internally in the E-code, Kiana, I think it should be called infraction and penalty guideline, just because that's already referenced numerous times in your E-code.
And so what she can do, she can take that language that's in the code that has the prohibited behaviors and the language about the two possible sanctions, which is loss of some sort of campaigning and or disqualification, put that in a standalone document with that name as an appendix. And the only other thing that needs to go into it that's not currently in the code is the process by which a person who
is the subject of a complaint gets notice and gets to respond. So she's got the prohibited behaviors, she's got the sanctions, she can just lift them as is, put them in the standalone document with that title, add the information about how the subject of the complaint will receive notice and how they'll be able to respond to the charges, and a statement about how no sanctions will be imposed until the person has been given notice and given the opportunity to respond. That's all that needs to be done.
Awesome. Okay, so on a separate document that is still called infraction and penalties guidelines. Okay, cool. As long as you do that, then I think that like the E code is generally capable of being approved tonight with the changes that we said. Are there any other suggestions that like council has?
Good.
I can check where your checklist is. Not in this computer.
Does anybody have comments about, I mean, past discussions last year were about political parties and slates, like if there's a difference between the two, if there should be slates, that sort of stuff. Obviously, I think that was in response a lot to like certain slates that had existed in the past, and maybe more circumstantial. But like, I still want to make sure like that, like if anybody has any like objections or anything they want to say about that sort of stuff before we move on. Other student governments are amazed that we have slates and political parties. I think it's pretty cool and interesting.
From an independent perspective?
From an independent, yeah.
Same, Joanna, same.
Okay. Any final comments?
Any final comments?
And we can come back and revise this if we need to. Council definitely did a lot of revisions last year, as Kiana knows.
Oh, we're trying to
until the package goes out.
Until the package goes out?
Yeah. Until the package goes out. We even changed the calendar.
What are we discussing
right now? We were discussing the infractions and penalties there. I thought that's gonna be like a separate talk.
I just sent you all the new E code with all the revisions that we just made minus the with it not sent over the website.
We're not even on mute.
I
know.
Just trying to get caught back up.
Okay, thank you, Kiana. Okay, so you, in those changes, accounted for there being obviously 100 and then raising it to 450 instead of 400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, he's so good looking.
Thank you.
I don't think that was you, Robert.
I think she was, thank you. Anyways, do we want to vote? Do we want a motion? Is there comments, questions, concerns?
Let's vote. I motion to approve the election code with amendments.
I second.
Thank you.
Nice, Lalo. Nice save, Lalo. Eye contact. Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, by motion of 8 to 0 to 0, the election code is approved. Yay. Tara, you didn't even look up at me when you voted. I was so sad. Okay.
Poor Robert with his 3-hour meeting time.
I know. I think that's it for tonight. Kiana, okay, so, not for tonight, with elections. Two things, the guidelines and then your board. So, do you want to give us updates on both of those? Because you gave me some updates on your board. Yeah, so.
For my board, I contacted my former investigations director and she said she's down for publicity. So hopefully we'll get her on. Shant, my former vice chair, wants to be vice chair again. Also, am I supposed to say their name? I feel like that's a breach of privacy. Should I be doing that?
You're fine. You're fine.
They're good. No one splits them. Okay. Someone else who wanted to be election board chair, wants to be vice chair. I had someone email me, like a freshman email me about wanting to join, so we're getting some people.
Yay. Like, you've gotten applications.
I've gotten interest.
Okay. I do hope that you are encouraging that interest to translate into applications.
Absolutely, I am. It's hard.
I saw that some of us shared the application on Facebook and elsewhere. If your office hasn't done that or something like that, please get your office to do that. That'd be great. Or yourself if you don't have an office yet.
Will do. I think I made a post, but I don't have internet sometimes at home, so it may not be uploaded.
Okay. So any way that you all can help publicize that, that would be really helpful and useful. So please do so. You can even do that right now if you want. Kiana, I don't know if you started using the election board Facebook page yet to do that type of publicity. I think that'd be a good place to do it since we got you a bunch of likes on that when we first came into council. So maybe start using that page more and engaging voters on that way. Can you give us, I think like a lot of council is curious about maybe like when a deadline you're setting for yourself is to like have a full board and then like to have this guidelines and penalties document ready. Do you have any estimate on when you can provide that for us? So our next council meeting maybe is in like 2 weeks. I don't know if like that seems like a fair deadline to you.
So that would be the 28th of August?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. As far as the board goes, I don't think I'll be able to have a board by then, but I can get the infractions and penalties guidelines.
Okay, cool. And then what about a month from now? So then the 2 weeks after that, do you think a board would be available by or ready by then? Because I think at that point, that is close enough to school where it might be necessary to have a board. And then once you have a board, you would also be wanting to put out committee applications. So I know this didn't happen in the past, or this past year, but in the past before that, boards would have their own committee that would do work, which I think would be ideal for you too.
Yeah, I mean, a month is okay. It just really depends on like if people apply and if they're the right fit, but I can try to have that by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else have anything about this? Do those deadlines sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Isabel, for posting. Cool. Okay. Are there anything else, or is there anything else that people want to bring up about elections before we move on from this? Anybody at all? Okay, well, thank you, Kiana, for your diligence on this, and thank you, Dr. Geller, for helping Kiana with this. Appreciate both of you all, and we will be in touch and help advertising as much as possible. You are good to go, Kiana.
All right, see ya.
Thank you. Cool. Officer reports. Okay, is everybody good to move on from that? Any comments about that? Okay, my officer reports are pretty quick. Where'd I go with this? Right now, the little council presidents for the UCs are discussing drama just because there was a regent that was appointed by Governor Newsom to like the Board of Regents, and he didn't consult like the advisory board that he said. So there's a regent advisory board that he didn't consult. So we were thinking about like how we're going to respond and to make sure that doesn't conflict with like UCSA stuff. So Joanna, like I'd love to talk to you about that too, because one thing that was mentioned was maybe like writing a letter with all the presidents and EVPs kind of like seeking clarification or expressing concern that he didn't consult that like committee. So I'd love to talk to you about that. As far as like platforms, obviously like the Lucas and Scantrons thing is something that happened recently. We reached out about the Basic Needs Committee and making sure that like we're trying to get more transparency surrounding that committee, especially since they're about to get a huge like multi-million-dollar budget increase. We've been communicating with folks from the LGBT Center and the Res Life about
I would like to be part of those conversations, given that Dr. Simmons did a lot of labor advocating for that allocation.
The Basic Needs Committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I can include you when I start meeting, hopefully with Tony about that. And thanks for letting me know about that. Important to acknowledge that. Gender inclusive housing on the Hill is definitely something like we're working on to make sure that students who do select roommate groups have the option to room with those who aren't of the same gender identity, just because that's like a safety concern with trans and queer students, and it's a comfort concern. So we're trying to see, the housing portal is actually going to be updated this year. So we're trying to update it to see if it can actually be something that's like more gender inclusive than it already is. So the way it works now is there's like a long kind of supplemental application that you have to go through. And even then it's not guaranteed. And even then you're not necessarily allowed to live with those of like the opposite gender identity through your roommate group. So that's like a really important thing we've been trying to make progress on. The last thing is the engagement campaign. So SLAC is happening, as you all know, like October 6th at UCLA. We have, I think, about 15 different universities that have expressed like actual interest in coming. Some as far away as like Stanford, for example, that have expressed interest in coming down. So that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be in Ackerman and Kirkhoff. Please like make sure you clear your schedules for that days. Like a lot of your all's counterparts from those student governments are going to be there here. And hopefully that will be like a really cool collaborative event. Summers in the unions right now are going great. So like, I know Isabel, I think you've been there as well. I think some other folks have been there for like the casino, the Ackerman nights. I know some of my office has been there, and then for like the organization activity fair. And I think we've gotten about 200 signups where people have indicated interest in like USAC and then have left their emails with us. So once school comes around, I'll be like sending out those emails to you all, and then we can all like respectively publicize our offices too. So that's really awesome that we're getting this engagement before school even happens. And thank you all to like some of your offices who already contributed to like helping with that. Other than that, I don't have like the meeting with Chancellor Block until like November. So if you all have stuff that comes up that you want to be added to that agenda item or to the agenda, please let me know so I can add it. There's a really cool opportunity. So SiriusXM reached out to me, and like the radio, like the national radio company, and they want to give away tickets to like a really big concert in LA to students. And they asked that our student government like collaborate with them in some sort of way to like publicize our student government. SiriusXM radio, they're like,
no, which concert?
they won't tell me yet. They won't tell me yet. Apparently it's like at the end of September. So they're going to tell me next week, but that's exciting. And Tara, like I'd love to specifically like maybe coordinate something with you since your office like kind of is able to manage this stuff better than I am. I kind of have no idea what I'm talking about when they say it. So I'm going to like try to talk to you if that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. So they're going to give away like 6 tickets to that. I'm excited.
Hey, Robert.
Cool. That's all.
Hey, Robert, when is that?
The concert?
Yeah, like when did they want to do this kind of coordinate?
So they reached out to me like last week, and they said the concert was like September 18th or something. So it was before school even started. But like they had suggested maybe we use like our email listserv. Like when I send out like a mass email, I could send, if only it worked that way. They suggested I send out like a mass email to the student body with like student government updates, and then have like a link that would like randomize the drawing or something like that. So it's coming up quickly.
Hey, Robert.
Okay. If you just like give me more information, I can help you brainstorm like ways to publicize it or connect it to other things.
That'd be really awesome. Okay.
On everyone else's time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hey, Robert, it would be a good idea to have a contract in between USAC, or I'm not sure if it's going to be CEC or the president's office, and SiriusXM.
Okay. Cool. To like write that out.
Yeah. So if you're going to give them an email in your listserv, then that would be included in the contract. And then if they're going to give you 6 tickets, then that would also be included in the contract. So at the end of the day, you might come with 4, or like something like that.
Okay. That's a good idea. Okay. Thanks for letting me know that, Fernando. Okay. Anybody else have anything for me? The gender inclusive housing thing is something that I think like is really cool and maybe intersects with a lot of the platforms your all's offices are doing. Like Lily, I'd love to work with you on that, since I think like you're obviously familiar with Res Life too. So once those meetings start, which they said they would start, I think in September, I'll definitely like try to include like you specifically in those conversations as well. Yeah, that's it. Still not asking for more surplus money. I hope you all are proud for me.
The bare minimum. Eco. Oh yeah, I think he. Oh, there we go.
Lalo?
I got nothing. I just didn't have a chance to strike it.
Oh, okay, you're good. CEC, Tara.
Working on Broom Lodge, really stressed, but I feel like that's obvious, self-explanatory. I have a story to share. I did the trash removal from my office, and they took things that weren't trash and threw them away.
No.
Yeah, so that was a little sad. But other than that, that's like my physical office report. I don't really have anything else. I just forgot to strike it.
Student orgs have been asking when our applications for EAS are going to be released.
I have to ask Chris because there's like a pretty routine way they do it every year. So he has like a very set time that like they usually send those things out. Like it'll be closer to when school starts though. It's not going to be until September hits.
All right.
But I'll ask Chris and I'll like email you because you probably have better connections to like the people that have been asking. So I'll email you or message you when I find that out.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay. And then just ISR. Or wait, no, Sham is not here. Sorry. Okay, admin reps then. No, nobody?
No.
Okay, cool. No old business, new business. Travel Guarant, mini fund, bylaw changes. Naomi. Or wait, did Naomi leave?
Naomi.
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
where'd she
no.
go? Okay. We can come back to that if she rejoins.
Wait,
I can fix it.
Discussion item, housing insecurity.
Wait.
Dr.
Kim.
Lily has something. So
Oh, sorry.
in regards to the funding guidelines, something I wanted to note that is relevant both to this one and to every other fund, because everyone who has a fund needs to bring their guidelines to council for a consent approval. All of the guidelines need to specifically state that all allocations are made on a viewpoint neutral basis. I don't see it in this one, so it needs to be added. And everyone else should make sure that that statement is in all funding guidelines. You'll see it in the guidelines for contingency, for BRD, for many of the ones that came to council last year. And it's just a line that you can lift and stick in, and that's ensuring compliance with law.
What does viewpoint neutral mean?
Good question. Viewpoint neutral means that when you're deciding whether or not to fund something, you can't consider what the thing believes or stands for. So you couldn't say, we'll fund only one political party and not the other. You couldn't say, we won't fund a conference on
the Middle East or on Asia or some part of the world, or will only fund if it's on the Middle East or Asia or some part of the world. So you take what it is the person wants to attend. If it's a conference, off the table. You take what the group believes in, if it's an organization, what the speaker believes in, if it's a speaker, off the table, and you use more objective criteria. The thought is that over time, as different people are elected and different groups are on campus, that the different viewpoints will balance out. But you make your allocations based on objective criteria that you set that are not about discriminating against what anyone believes.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Geller. Okay. I'm just going to add one more thing because I forgot it and it's important. If you all are on campus September 21st for the This Is Bruin Live speech, I was going to like shout out all of the offices. So if you all want to be there and like introduce your office really briefly, like with me, I was going to like already reach out to you all to do that. Like just very briefly be like, I'm the ISR, I'm the transfer rep, and I'm this or that. So totally like that invitation is there. Hope that you all can be there and like participate. Okay, Naomi, travel grant, mini fund, bylaw changes.
Hello. Yeah, so did you guys all get the document that I sent y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys had the chance to review it, but basically I just made, my director and I just made additions or like edits to the document, and we're just trying to make it more accessible for student leaders to be able to read, and also for people to be able to, like we changed like the funding deadlines too. Before they were on Mondays, and like most people want to do everything by like that Friday. We added another date too. Instead of having just like a week 5 and a week 7 application date, we also added a week 2 date so that people who are like flying out to conferences within like the first weeks of school have the chance to apply and get funding too. So yeah, we didn't really make any major changes. I'm sure y'all could see through the document. And I guess this is just a consent item, right, Dr. Geller?
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, Robert, what do I say next?
There was
there was a suggestion.
Yeah, there was one thing from Dr. Geller before you logged back on, which is that you need a statement in there about viewpoint neutrality.
Oh, viewpoint neutrality?
So like she said, you can just lift it from like literally any other like funding guideline because it legally has to be in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was like basically it. I just sent it to all of us.
That's just so weird because it wasn't in there before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even an academic. I'm gonna make the edits now that you said that, but it hasn't been in there, so we're gonna add that.
Okay. She said you just sent it to us.
I just sent it to all of you, the line that you can insert into all of the funding guidelines.
Okay.
Some of them, it was added last year. Others, it was requested that it be added, but they were never brought to council for an update.
Okay. So once I add that, are they like, do I have to bring it back to council to get approved, or can I just add it?
You can just do it now. You can just do it now with that condition. Okay, so with that condition that Naomi's adding it, is there any opposition to these guidelines? Okay, any last call? Okay, the guidelines are approved. I'm supposed to say it for the minutes. The travel grant mini fund bylaw changes are approved. Okay, awesome. Let's go to a discussion item on academic senate appointments bylaw changes.
Yeah, so, okay, I first just want to preface it by saying that I'm pretty sure, I hope we all know that the Academic Senate like literally makes academic policy here at UCLA, and AAC has a very like close and intimate relationship with the Academic Senate. We make a lot of appointments to the committees, like about 25 appointments to the committees. So basically what I want everyone to have the opportunity to do is be introduced to some of the folks that we work with within the Academic Senate, maybe through like a special presentation for USAC.
So maybe like week 1 or week 2, we can have them come in and speak a little bit about the academic senate, just so that USAC knows like why we're so like connected to them and why it's so important that student representation is on the academic senate. So that's like the first part, if y'all are like open to that. Yeah. Great. And then the second part is a bylaw change that I'm proposing. Technically it's to our bylaws, but specifically it's to the academic senate appointments. And essentially I want to stipend them from my budget. We haven't formally proposed like any of the numbers yet. I'm still having my directors work on that this week, and they're like sending numbers back to me by the end of the week, just because we got our budget from Vong today. So yeah, I wanted to know, what are y'all's thoughts about that specific proposal?
For me, at least, it's hard to like have an opinion before I know like exactly what you're thinking of stipending them, and like what, I guess, like how great of a commitment it is.
Oh, that I actually don't know, Robert.
Because it typically is discretion of the council member to use their budget. At least in the past, it's been used that way. So I feel like if it's under your office budget, you would be fine. I feel like I'm about to get roasted by Dr. Geller.
No roast. So you're correct that if rather than writing it into the bylaws as a stipend, if you treat it as general assistance and you pay it from your office budget, you can do that. And then each year, the council member would decide whether to do it or not. If you switch it to a stipend in the bylaws, then all of your positions have to go through ARC and come to council and be interviewed in person, because all stipended positions have to go through the formal interview process. It changes them from being consent items to being action items. So that's something to be aware of.
25-year.
Yeah.
And I feel like ARC is like going to shut this down, and I don't want y'all to shut it down like just yet. Try to hear me out. Wait, one more question. If it does, if it has to go through ARC, and if they're being stipended, the stipend is still from my budget, right?
Yeah, there is no other funding source, so it would still be through your budget.
What if we did like honorarium at the end of the year? Because like, I mean, that would prevent like ARC from having to interview everyone.
Yeah.
Honorarium, Dr. Geller?
I'm sorry?
I feel like Kalechi's office does the same thing, in which she has appointments, but they don't go through ARC because their stipend is from Cultural Affairs Commissioner's budget.
I mean, we did that last year, Kim. I mean, remember where I stipend, like, it's just like stipending an office member with an honorarium at the end of the year. You could just treat them,
But what I'm trying to say is it's also an appointment, so it's similar to what Kalechi's office is doing. So
that's true.
With her about it.
Yeah, as long as you keep it out of the bylaws and make it the choice of that year's council officer, then you can do it using your office's budget as long as you have the resources and they continue to be your consent items. If you try and write it into the bylaw as a paid position, you change the nature and you change the relationship for the appointment itself.
So basically just leaves that like that openness that there might not be stipended in the future.
Correct.
If we don't put it, okay.
Yeah, I would say the only other thing is like, I don't know, like as an alternative for ARC, I'm not necessarily opposed, like just adding more appointments, which I understand it's a lot of work. But I would be interested in increasing the amount of ARC committee members there are, that is 3 people during the summers hard, 4 people during the summers hard. I would say there needs to be more ARC appointments if we're adding more academic senate.
Does that go for like every, because I'm still in the process, like once we review our budget and once they send me the numbers, I wasn't even thinking of stipending all of the positions. Once I make the choice to like stipend positions, does it have to be like an all or nothing kind of thing, Dr. Geller?
You have, if you want it to be in the bylaws as an every year thing, you need to specify which ones, and then it's those specific ones. If you want it to be something you do with your discretion from your budget, you can decide at any point. It's not set in stone from year to year, so you can do one position, not another. You can use whatever criteria you're going to use to decide which of the people that contribute to your office get compensated.
Okay. Okay, this is all really good feedback for me. I'm still thinking it over, which is also why like I didn't even send it as a bylaw change yet, because there's still so much uncertainty. Yeah, because I honestly wouldn't even want to sit through 25 more additional appointments. So I agree in the sense that like I would probably want it to be like collective process, but I also want it to be like sustainable for years to come, just to make sure that like the academic senate doesn't lose its importance, because like at least my office struggled last year with like getting people appointed. So I'm feeling like longevity, but this is all something that I'm going to bring back to like my staff and like my accessibility directors and stuff. So that's kind of all I had for that.
Sweet. Thanks. No, that was a really valuable discussion. And I think that either way, you'll definitely like set a precedent to, you know, in some way reward them for their work, even if it's not in the bylaws. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Does anybody have anything to say about it before we move on to the next discussion item? Okay, sweet. Thanks, Naomi. Let's go on to Kim with housing insecurity discussion.
So I know this was brought up by the article that Lily posted on GroupMe. Yeah, we did say that it's kind of something that we wanted to discuss during council meeting, and I wanted to hear from Lisa. I think you were there for basic needs committee meeting, just like if they did touch upon this topic. Yeah, I just wanted like update that.
Yeah, I was at the meeting. They did not talk about it like, at all. So yeah, they mainly just went over the budget for like the upcoming year for like this budget, and that took like 2 hours basically. So that's why I decided.
Yeah, cause I mean, at least Matt and I, World Campus Safety Alliance, reach out to Lily if this is something that like we wanted to work towards like during the school year, and see and talk to housing about like safe parking zones and whatnot. Like, yeah.
Yeah, my proxy went and said they briefly mentioned that UCLA Emergency Housing Resources were working on it. And there was like a team of admin that's working on safe parking, but she wasn't exactly who that was because they didn't specifically say. So I'll reach out to the head of transportation or like my admin connect and see if I can get to the bottom of this admin group that's working on it and like get connected with them.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely also want to be included in that conversation.
Yeah, I can CC you on the emails.
All right, cool. That's pretty much what I said.
Kim, I know, and I think it was other people too. I know you and I have talked about this in either like Shahama or Isabel or Lily. We were talking about like the stayover policy with the Hill and how like at a lot of other colleges, students have their dorm for the actual year and are allowed to live in it. Is that something that people have followed up on in any way, like because of like the required move outs during certain portions of the year?
Not that I know of, but I am setting up a meeting with housing with one of the housing directors. Like I
awesome.
Josh for contact today. Yeah, yeah, that's a meeting that I'm like looking forward to it, like gonna ask them about a bunch of different questions.
Yeah, I think it was primarily like a thing that affected international students the most.
So
Because-
Shahama.
Yeah,
Okay.
like definitely reach out to Shahama about that because like that was something that Aisha worked on as well last year.
Yeah.
And like
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how every university works, but like the ones that I'm most familiar with have like a distinction between year-round housing and like year-round housing for specifically international students and then like school year housing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can follow up on that definitely when Shahama's back. And thanks for letting me know that, Isabel. Okay. Kim, is there anything else you want to talk about with this before we move on to your next discussion item?
Not really. I could just like follow up after that meeting that I have. And then in terms of for the next discussion item, it's because I created this agenda before they had sent out the lottery. But if you all want to like, give Robert a mouthful, go ahead.
I'm ready for it.
Robert booked a room for 3 hours. Robert, when did you call in and why?
Oh shit.
Can you please explain?
Okay.
And also, can you explain why you're not releasing this information as the most experienced USAC member to your fellow council members?
What information?
Like the fact that we can reserve rooms for 4 hours, apparently. I just feel like there was a lot of information we could have.
This was not information that was given. This was information that was given at council by Jessica. Which, when we were elected, we had an initial lottery for 417 that was given out for 417.
When was that lottery?
2 hours.
I don't remember that.
Fernando, somebody that's there,
Administrator.
CVP told me, hey, do you want to sign up for a lottery? I was like,
okay, there's two separate lotteries. There's like a special USAC lottery, and then there's a lottery for all of Kirkhoff.
I upped my Kirkhoff 417 reservation because Julia booked it for the year. So we just kept going to meeting at the same time. But I didn't know there was like a second lottery. I just thought Julia booked it through the year.
Yeah,
So mine ended for IPT last year.
I went to the office with my chief of my old chief of logistics in the spring, and the person working there was just like, "Do you want to renew it for next year?" And I was like, "Yeah." We've been meeting on Tuesdays from 5 to 6 for years now.
Why didn't you do that, Robert?
No.
And when I called,
then all of this lottery stuff happened, and I was just very confused because I thought we had Surefire booked it.
That's similar to what I did too.
I called several weeks ago. Mahika instructed me. She's the one who told me how to book a room because I didn't know. And so I called several weeks ago. And then when I called today during the lottery, they were like, "You already booked your time. Do you want to change it?" And I was like, "No." And then they were like, "Why are you calling again?"
Well, yeah, because we had booked it, and then I called again for the lottery to book my additional 2 hours because the reservation.
The lottery is fake.
If any of you guys don't need that time, I don't know, some real.
The lottery is just Robert's excuse to get an extra 2 hours.
I think Robert really just finessed everyone, and that's why.
Robert, the first
I
meeting.
I feel like you all think I'm malintentioned when I just went and booked a room.
That first meeting doesn't count. We were confused.
Who said I can't hear 5 different people talking at the same time? So if we're going to go through this criticism, can we do it one by one?
First come, first serve, and then there's a lottery just for shits and giggles.
I don't think it was first come, first serve screen quarter. From what I recall, there was some sort of system where you could go to a reservationist and book it for the upcoming year. It was through the student org lottery. Do you remember how they post the things on the Ackerman window?
Yeah, that's different.
That's different.
That's different.
You're talking about another lottery now.
Yeah, that's different.
Well, I went there for that and booked a room.
Well,
barely, through that system, I didn't go there I want this for the upcoming year. And then today I called and they were like, "You have an additional 2 hours." So I was like, "I want it here," and I want it here.
So wait, Robert.
Where,
hours out of 2.
So what do we do now to book this room?
I say we take Robert's hours and give them to us.
wait, what?
I agree.
Robert, what hour were you thinking of dropping from your 3-hour appointment?
Probably the 6 to 7.
The 6 to 7 block?
Oh, what
Yes.
day?
Wednesday.
Oh,
I am not sure yet, though. I'm not sure yet.
I say we
I just
decide
like-
like right now.
people obviously had confusion about this, so I think maybe this is something like for next year's council or something, like maybe they should take note to discuss this earlier on and be a little bit more clear about it, because we obviously need the space. Yeah, and none of us knew what was going on to like properly prepare for this, and people were doing different things at different times. And so we want to learn from this, that like next time they do it, be a little bit more clear and like transparent about how the process works.
I think to add on to that, it should be limited to 2 hours per council member, and it should post the times that are like still available.
I agree. I agree with everything.
Yeah, I think I'm confused. I did it so long ago, and then she sent me a confirmation and everything, like through Soul. Like I signed a contract thing to book the rooms, and I got a confirmation. And then today I asked her to send me another confirmation because I was really paranoid. So I got a second confirmation for the same rooms.
First of all, you didn't win it. I won it technically, Robert, and you still finessed us. I would like to confirm that you are the only person on council that knew about this and everything about it.
The email sent to all of us. I literally sent it. I was like, how many? Hold up.
Can you pull up receipts?
I said, I called during my lottery time, which was late because they weren't there, and said, how many hours can I book? And they said, you have 3. So I booked it.
Robert, you called before me. I switched with Joanna, so technically I was supposed to be first.
And I called before Lily, and they're like, the reservationist isn't there. And so, like, I don't even know how you did that, Robert.
I couldn't even.
How I
Y'all, I have new information. My logistics director just confirmed that, so our time slot was at 2:30, and he was like, I called it and they confirmed, meaning like they already had it in the books, and like mine went through. I don't know.
That's what happened to me today. She was treating me like I was crazy.
Wait, I have a question. Just to make sure, is this lottery happening before winter quarter?
It happens every quarter.
Okay.
So this isn't for the
For
year?
417, it happens every single quarter. For all of Kirkhoff, it happens separately.
Yeah, okay. 417.
So they will send the exact email, and you'll think when I win the lottery again that I will finesse it.
Okay, I move to have Robert lost in the lottery.
I second.
Room as early as possible.
Look, it's the luck of the draw, yo.
The lottery's not real.
You all really think I just intentionally called and was like?
I mean, you did. You literally called before Joanna and Lily.
I can see you all thinking this transcript was like, put me ahead of everyone else.
No, maybe I booked ours weeks before the lottery. Like the lottery system's not real.
Good. So we
It's
know.
not.
Yeah,
I already
you-
messaged like in the group being like, I didn't even know this was a thing, and like people already know about it. So like, there's clearly a lack of information that isn't being given.
I don't think it's anyone's fault that they have more information. It's just not fair to didn't have the information. It's like the problem. Like they're trying to catch you, Robert. It's like, and like, but it's a thing for like making Kit and Lily both like knew beforehand. Like it was just how it works. But it just like it doesn't make sense because if there's a lottery, how could you have booked it before everyone else?
I actually just cluelessly stumbled upon my reservation. I just called a bunch of people and asked Mika, and then I got it.
Where to start? Do you want to say
Go
something,
right now.
Fernando?
Go right now.
All right, so
Fernando, you better defend me.
Robert.
from what I know, the lottery is real.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
But before the lottery, the funding parties that use the room for hearings have priority. So we just like gonna pre-book those. So they're like, even if you got Wednesday from 6 to 9, that's what I'm hearing right now. There's gonna be weeks where you're not gonna have that available just because a hearing is going to take place. So I know that happened with the transfer or Gen 1, 2, or 3 last year, where I had CS mini hearings, and for some reason that wasn't communicated very well. So CS mini had the room, but Gen Rep was having a party with pizza or something. So it kind of felt bad to have them removed for the hearings, but I know that's first. So the pre-bookings for the hearings, that's first. Then comes the lottery, where the dates that have not been pre-booked are available. I was looking at the reservationist system calendar thing, and it was I think it was bugged. Because I was looking at next year's dates, right? But it was showing me last year's bookings. So then I was really confused. I was just looking for the pre-books, just making sure that the pre-books were reserved. But I kept seeing last year's information for next year, like the future dates. So I think there might have been a bug, and that's why it feels like when you called, it says your room was reserved, but I'm not sure. I just never got that answered. I was just more concerned with the pre-books, making sure those were in order. But even then, I wasn't even sure either. So I'm pretty sure the lottery is real. I'm not sure if you guys are talking about something else for the first, or what were you talking about, Robert, for the first thing?
I think it was the all
last spring quarter, they had the things posted up on all the student orgs. And I went in like as one of those student orgs that applied and like booked a room.
But that was for
this upcoming quarter.
That was not for 417, right?
It was all 417. It was every room booking I have is 417.
No, but it wasn't just for 417, was it? Wasn't it for all of Kirkhoff and Ackerman?
Because I know 417 isn't available.
Oh yes, no. During that reservation block, I think that was for all of Kirkhoff and Ackerman, but I still wanted 417. So I got it.
So I think that's where I guess that unfair knowledge might have come in, because I know that 417 isn't available to student orgs. So if you're applying as the president's office, and you're pretty much, and then no other office rolled the lottery.
I wasn't aware of that either. I just thought I was a student org registering a space, and they told me that 417 was available at the time.
I say we know all your times that are confirmed and just settle this.
Like when I went into the reservationist, I was like, "Can I book?" And they were like, "Yes." Sorry.
Was that for the whole year or just?
For fall quarter.
So I guess
all the bookings I have, I'm pretty sure are for fall quarter.
So I guess
you got it
from my
twice?
understanding.
Okay, I mean, whatever at this point.
I'm hearing you got it twice.
I just want to go.
There's always winter, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Look, I'm getting rid of one of those hours on Wednesday.
I say to compensate us, you let us use your conference room.
Please use my conference room. I did say you can use my conference room. I'll give you access to my office.
Oh, you said it.
I was going to ask.
Was there a lottery for that?
You were going to ask me what?
I was going to ask you for access to your conference room.
Y'all can. It used to be used by other council members. Like y'all can use it when you need to. That is not a problem of mine at all. So yay. Okay. Cool. Any other criticisms of me reserving rooms?
I'm just concerned still, not about you, Robert, about the email, because I don't know, just looking at this email again, like it does say, like, here are the lottery results we're serving in the fall, like for what reservations, like what lottery is this, like there's no explanation for what's going on or like what I'm supposed to be preparing for. Like I could have just not checked GroupMe and like that probably would have missed my lottery time, and I still don't know what the heck is going on or what rooms
I can reserve under this lottery? Or
Also,
what days and times?
they clearly weren't enforcing the order, because like I didn't know, obviously, Joanna slash who took Joanna's time? Lily.
Either way, you called before one of us.
But I thought that they were keeping obviously track of like, oh, they called, so like I thought on their end they were keeping track of who came before me and made sure that they booked before I did. Like, right? Like that's not my burden. I thought it was the reservationist who was
Well,
like,
she also didn't get in until like 4 o'clock my time.
yeah, no, same.
2 o'clock.
Also my time.
Yeah.
Right, so I guess what I'm trying to figure out now is I don't want this to happen again, either in the winter or in future years. And I know there were some trainings done last spring, which not everyone could attend. So I'm trying to figure out what's a good time to share this information so this won't happen again. Whether does it have to be during council or a better email?
Can you just like make a guideline on how to book a room appropriately? And like send it out to all of council.
I typed things to you in the chat that are suggestions.
To me?
Yeah, well, in the council chat, I'll just say them too. The reservationist should come in on time. The reservationist should be accountable to holding the order of the lottery results. So like, if I call and the person before me hasn't booked yet, they should like call that person first and make sure they book before they allow me to book. And then 3, we should be told about the results earlier than the day before, like because a lot of us might not have checked our email or even known. And then 4, Joanna said, knowing what the lottery for rooms we can reserve.
Okay.
I really think the day before thing like sucked too. So if they can like let us know like earlier than that.
It was my first time too. But that was the first time I saw that email.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for writing that down too, Fernando. We appreciate it. Like if there was a way the reservationist could look and be like, oh, like the Office of the President's trying to reserve, but the EVP who was in line before him hasn't, like we should call them first and make sure that they like are comfortable moving on or that they don't want to reserve. Like they should, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're trying to say.
Or, you know, the problem with this time was that because the time wasn't enforced, because the reservationist was late, like they all just kind of emailed us to call. They're like, oh, they like emailed me and were like, call at like 2 Pacific time or whatever. So I did, and then like thinking that somebody had already come before me.
Oh yeah, I called exactly at 2 o'clock and no one answered. Like I got the recording that no one was in the office. So then I walked here, and by the time I walked here, it was too late. It's okay, I got it.
Also, that doesn't address what I keep saying, which is like Mahika and I booked the room so far in advance, which like technically shouldn't be allowed either.
Yeah, I did too, and I don't want to like make that unfair if other council members can't have that either.
Yeah, I need to double check on that too. Because like I said, I think it was like, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, because the lottery shouldn't be an illusion. It should be real, and it should be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so space is something that's prioritized.
Like, oh yeah, Tara.
So the lottery for today was for all the kickoff spots, right? Like, it didn't have to be in 417, there's any kickoff spot that's supposedly on lottery. Yes? Confirming.
It was all critical?
There's still open spots in Ackerman that you can book for the whole year.
Yeah.
Stateroom.
I'm just asking because I genuinely got a time that like I just cannot use, and like everything was full. So now that we do have this problem, I want to find a solution. Can I book an Ackerman room for the whole year?
Does anyone know that?
If it's available, yes, I think. And the other option is to go through Seoul through like their like classroom lotteries if like worst kit comes to worst. But Ackerman should, I don't know all year, all week availability, but
How
should have spots. I feel like I did that last year with GP.
Okay, I think Jessica knows best, or I think she knows, she's the most informed on this. And she is on vacation, but she did tell me she's open to receiving emails, so I can email Jessica and see if I get a response early even before she comes back, and then have that shared to everyone in council, just so if something can be done, it's done as soon as possible and not down the road. If you guys are interested in that.
Yeah, thank you. That would be great. Open up the staterooms for us.
Like that kind of information, I'm not even sure.
Why do I know nothing? Facilities is literally my job. Like,
I think we're still talking to Lily in that group and Naomi about the staterooms in ASU and how there might be moves made there still. So.
wait, Robert, did you want me to comment on that?
Oh, no, I was just, I mean, if you want to, like, I don't not want you to. I think, like, that's obviously something, like, we're thinking about with that room.
Well, I think it's unfair for the rest of the student orgs to book their rooms if we're not allowed to do it, like, obviously before we were elected. Like, if the room booking takes place before elections, then we're, like, fucked.
Yeah. The second one or the first? The lottery.
I didn't even get the second one.
Because there's the lottery results one that has like the times and the phone number.
I think, Lily, I think it's supposed to be balanced out by the fact that we have exclusive access to 417.
Yeah.
Because like they can't book that room at all / ever. And also I was able to book the staterooms today as well. So like, I think there's still like some mobility in terms of like not using 417.
It doesn't say you can reserve. It doesn't say anything about what's reservable, right?
No, it just said like what time to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you called today, they were open to reserving any part of Kirkhoff and Ackerman for fall quarter, was my understanding.
I think it says in the second.
And Tara, just a suggestion too, on your end, one thing I did last year was when I got like kind of screwed over by lotteries, you can go to recreation in like Woodin and SAC, and they typically have like pretty like open spaces for like nice conference rooms in rooms that are like available for like the quarter or even the year. Just if like nothing else works.
Are you guys talking about this?
Is there anything else?
And then now I have to figure out how this whole thing works.
Okay, thank you, Fernando, for looking into it too. We appreciate it. Okay, anything before I think that's all from the agenda.
Yep.
I look forward to any early comments.
Before 11.
Okay.
Woo.
Cool. Any other comments? I will have appointments in the next 2 weeks. So
How many?
ARC, only like 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think 2. SFAC and one other.
There's still NetSpec to play?
Collecting!
What it do, baby?
We're done.
You're gonna hear us adjourn.
Huh?
You get to hear us adjourn.
Oh, brilliant! I made it.
Wow, we stand.
Okay, cool. If anybody else doesn't have anything, good night, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Wait, what time
Good
is
night.
Meeting adjourns at 10:54.
We did then. Peace, y'all.
Meeting adjourns at 10:54.
Sorry, 52. I can't see.
You're on camera.
Call our meeting. All 0.